Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and today I finally finished updating my main character builds, my heavy gunner, my endgame build, the best endgame build I was able to figure out for myself, and maybe you will enjoy it as well. That depends on your playstyle, but let's jump straight into it. And we have this machine. I have two setups. One is power armor and damage focus, and second one is called daily driver, because it just incorporates everything that is important for me on daily basis and that I want to have in here. Unfortunately, I was thinking to include one like for crafting in my base, but as there are only two loadouts, then I will be just swapping perks manually whenever I will need to craft something. Only two loadouts, that's what I was able to figure out that's the best. And let's start from the first one, power armor, damage focus build. And damage focus build doesn't mean that there is like only damage min-maxing, because even though you can swap a loadout, items in your inventory will not magically disappear or lose the weight. I hope they will not magically disappear. I want my items. And now let's go to the point, to the build. Let's start with the legendary perks, as those will not be changing. Those are the same on all my builds. I have electric absorption, that's super OP. And you know, it was even buffed recently to work with all proper sources of energy damage. Then it heals you, it recharges your core. It's really good for a heavy gunner build. Then we have intelligence, that's pretty universal card to boost our special, but on top of that, I'm using it as experience booster on my daily driver. Then sizzling style, fire resistance, mainly for Colossus fights, some floaters and some occasional monster mash with a flamers. That's why we have sizzling style. Master infiltrator. I really like this perk. I know it's just a quality of life perk. I really like it. You can swap it. If you want something more useful, go for poison resist. Especially now that we have a daily ops with enemies exploding with poison, then you don't need Master Infiltrator if you don't care about opening all those locks. Then we have Legendary Luck. Again, that's universal booster for your special. So you probably watched my video about what to choose. That's why the luck is in here. And taking one for the team, this one is the best for damage because it increases damage by 40%. That's a multiplicative increase, not additive like regular perks, and works not only for you but for everyone, as this is a debuff on the enemy. Then that's my perfect setup for legendary perks. They all currently upgraded. I just finished upgrading today. The last one, that was intelligence. And now that's the build with all those extra 10 points to the special from legendary perks. But I will link a build for someone who's lower level and do not have a legendary perks yet. There will be a build planner to like level 50, a little bit above the 50 players. Then don't worry about that. There will be a build planner for you. And now what we have in here is I'm not able to squeeze in all max out heavy gunner perks, and diminishing return is quite crazy at this point. Then I decided that that's perfect. A little bit less damage, not much of a difference. I'm not a speedrunner generally, especially not on my main. Then I don't need every single point of damage. I just need a solid damage with this build. And I need some defense, like blocker in here. I need to be able to carry all my heavy guns, then bear arms. And I need to be able to carry all my 200 bear mentats that are very crucial. Then traveling pharmacy is a must-have. Under perception, that's nothing important. We just have 1 point. Grit dump, as you can toss whatever in here. Endurance, that's our tankiness. That's one of the most important stats, as you don't want to die. Like, you definitely do higher DPS if you do not die. When you are dead, you are doing 0 DPS. That's why endurance is important. And we have Life Giver, the most powerful defensive perk. We have Campfen to boost our camps, that gives us both damage and defense in the same time for twice as long. I really like to use Psycho buff. Then we have Fireproof. It's resistance to explosions, like basically almost 100% immunity to explosions, apart from legacy weapons explosions, of course. And we have Radical for extra carry weight if necessary. As well, if there will be a daily op with resilient enemies, strength is boosting damage with the Shredder, then that's other reason it's in here. Under Charisma, we have Strength in Numbers to boost all our mutations. We have Inspirational to still get this a little extra of the experience. You can swap it. You can swap it for something else, but there is really not too much under Charisma that will be necessary. The good choice if you want to replace Inspirational will be Party Boy, as your alcohol will be stronger. Or you can toss Suppressor, or whatever else you really want. Like, Suppressor is not a bad option either. Then for damage we have Tenderizer. That's the only perk from regular perks that's multiplicative, and that's debuff on enemy as well. Then you definitely want this one max out. Then under Intelligence we have batteries included. I have enormous amount of fusion cores that I refuse to drop, therefore this is a mandatory. Then we have Stabilized for damage and Nerd Rage for more damage. If there will be like a daily op with those crazy hard-hitting enemies, Nerd Rage can be changed with First Aid to play with a little bit higher health and do not die. If you need tankiness, swap Nerd Rage with First Aid. Then under Agility, of course, we have a lot of food buffs. We are herbivores and food buffs are amazing. Then we have Through Hiker to carry them all. We have Born Survival to do not accidentally die. And we have Adrenaline max out in here for more damage. The max out generally is not necessary. If you want to use those special points somewhere else, you can use Adrenaline rank 1 and move points somewhere else. I just like to have a little bit more agility, that's why I tossed Adrenaline max out. And under Luck, we have Class Freak for our awesome mutations with Star Genes. Then we have Good with Salt to keep our amazing food buffs. And we have Bloody Mess for a little bit extra damage. And Ricochet for a little bit more tankiness. Then that's a perfect loadout when I want to use a power armor. When I do like a Colossus or something, I will use this one. And for a daily driver, when I'm not doing any like demanding events like that, when I'm doing dailies, when I'm doing experience grinding, or whatever else I'm doing on daily basis, I will use this one and I will run it without power armor. It will be heavy gunner, but mostly without power armor. I will only enter power armor if I will need additional protection. And couple perks will be swappable here, but strength is very similar, then I will not discuss everything again. It's just a little bit less strength. Under Perception, this time we have Concentrated Fire for headshots in VATS, and we have Panapictagraphist. And I hate missing those magazines, and they are always hidden. Like Bubbleheads, quite often visible, magazines always hidden, then you need to have this perk. Endurance is actually unchanged. It's exactly the same like previous build, then we'll not discuss it again. And Charisma is a little bit different because apart from Strength in Numbers and Inspirational, we have here Party Boy. We are not using Tenderizer this time, not as much focus on damage, although Tenderizer is good and recommended, but I have Party Boy for Perception boost and I have Inspirational for Experience boost. Then those two are really good. And Party Boy, not purely increasing my damage, but with higher perception, I will hit more headshots, and overall, I will have better damage thanks to that. Next, under Intelligence. Intelligence is interesting in here, and what I should tell you, I have 15 Intelligence from my base special and Legendary Intelligence on top of that. Then, in practice, I have 20 Intelligence to farm experience faster and get those daily level ups faster. And perks, some are very similar, but she's included Stabilized, Nerd Rage, but then we have added Scrapper, as you know, whatever I pick up I will scrap to get resources for ammo crafting, and then we have Gunsmith to a little bit extend our gun's life. It can be swapped for Demolition Expert if you are using something that's explosive, or for whatever other stuff if you need to. Then Agility, in this case it's only 5, and we have Through Hiker, Gunfu and Adrenaline. As we'll be using VATS, then there is a Gunfu. We'll be using VATS with a single shot heavy guns mainly, something like a plasma caster. By the way, I need to craft a better plasma caster, then maybe I will upload a video. I will try to craft a better plasma caster for myself for daily driver build. As I wasn't using plasma caster too much before, but now as I have those two separate loadouts, it's way more desirable. Under luck we have Class Freak, Star Genes, Good with Salt, and Curator here. That's a difference compared to the other build. We have Curator to increase duration of our Bubblehead for experience and Magazine for more experience. But keep in mind when you'll be using them with a Curator, swapping the loadout. I just completed a quest, it looks like. Okay, completed the quest. That's nice. And Curator, the problem here is if you will swap your loadouts while you have Curator equipped and you are using this extended duration on magazines and bubbleheads, you'll lose the buffs if you swap. Then if you use the daily driver, you use your bubblehead magazine, do not swap the loadout until you finish all your buffs. Now about the mutations. And we are rocking standard 10 mutations for a heavy gunner. We have Adrenal Reaction, Bare Bones, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Empath, Herbivore, Herd Mentality, Marsupial, Scully Skin, and Speed Demon. That's a perfect setup for a heavy gunner, and don't look on those high negatives. Class Freak is working, it's just bugging out in here, and Pip-Boy is not displaying actual values. I mean, it's displaying some correctly, some are not displayed correctly. But don't worry about that, it's not giving you full negatives. Class Freak is working. And just a quick mention, if you play always solo, just don't use Empath and Herd Mentality, don't use those two mutations, and instead use a Lone Wanderer under Charisma. That's basically like the only difference. Now about the weapon arsenal, you will be using whatever you want under heavy guns category, but what I should recommend, try to get at least one minigun with vampire effect to put Shredder on it for some of those nasty daily ops. You can easily get Final Word from the Beckett questline, it's a really good 50 cal, then I would recommend that. And I would recommend to get any type of flamer you can put your hands on for the Colossus fight. If it's not going very well, flamer will help you a lot, then I recommend having a flamer. About the armor, of course, I do recommend Excavator power armor with emergency protocols, as we'll be playing mostly as a blooded build. Although not always, sometimes I will heal if there is more tankiness required, I will just heal my rats, then it's not like this build is tied to low health. You can play at low or high health, but mainly we are at low health to help out with experience grinding and dailies and scoreboards, then that's a big reason, and damage increase, there is just too many benefits to pass on them on my main. About the regular armor, you are aiming for unyielding, possibly with extra intelligence. Unfortunately, I do have only this one piece with good stuff. All other pieces are bad, but you know, the important for me is that they are unyielding and secret service. I spent so much time that maybe I will try to upgrade one or two pieces later, but I'm happy that I have full set of unyielding. That's like the most important for me. It doesn't even matter that remaining stars does almost nothing for me. Like only chest piece is good, but that's fine. That's fine. The important part, unyielding. About the food buffs, you are up to use whatever you like, but I have brain bumps for the intelligence and experience. I have cranberry relish for more experience. I'm using corn soup for very easy regeneration to AP. When I need poison resistance, I'm using cave fungus soup, although this food is super rare and you can only obtain it from a collection, communist collection, then you cannot just craft it. Therefore, I'm using it sparingly, only when it's really needed. Glowing fungus soup is an easy soup to boost your radiation resistance when you are running without power armor, as this is stacking up. Then if you eat multiple glowing fungus soups, you will have more radiation resistance than from one. Then very easy to craft mute fruit juice to increase our agility. Sealed bean soup to have extra endurance and tankiness. Simple fern flower tea when we need to carry a little bit more stuff for this free strength. Sweetwater Special Blend for extra 15 perception if you have those perks and mutations and I have on my daily drivers. It's how much it gives you and it lasts for an hour. Then we have Tato Juice for 25 extra max AP. That's really useful. And we have Tato Salad. That's the recipe from Graham Cookout. Then if you don't have it, then this summer try hard to farm it or find someone who can sell you one. It's a rare recipe from Graham Cookout event that's happening every summer. And it's giving me 75 to max HP. It's relatively easy to craft. And that will be about everything. I will not do a build showcase because you can see me running my builds on every live stream. Then there is no reason to show you that it's working on this video that's already relatively long, as now we have like 2 builds to discuss in every video instead of 1. There are like 2 iterations that we can have saved. But I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think about my ultimate endgame build that I'm using now. I really enjoy it. I spent some time to tweak it a little bit as we have those loadouts now. I can keep 2 different versions. Easy swappable on every train station. I really like it. And now as always, thank you a lot for watching and see you guys in the next one.